reconnecting live? Hey, we're live. Very good. Very good. Glad that you're watching with us. We got a group of people with us today, and so you're going to hear a teaching on building your faith. Let's all say, building your faith.
Building your faith.
Building your faith. So if you're joining us live on Facebook right now, we're going to be talking about building your faith. And I want to start by teaching you that there are three basic belief systems when you go to a church or you get around people that believe in God. Number one, the first belief system is that God is in control. And I want to tell you that is a very comforting thought. But if God was in control, there would have not been a murder last night. There would have not been a rape yesterday. There would have not been violence. If God is in control. Then someone says, well, if God isn't in control, look at this world. Satan is in control. And if that's true, I'd like you to explain healing. If he's in control, then why do people get healed? In fact, if Satan is in control, all the preachers would be dead. He would kill them all so that the good news couldn't be preached. So I know that God works everything together for good of what you've gone through. And I know that the enemy is defeated. So what is the belief system that we need to have? And that is that God gave everyone a free will. God gave every person a free will to mark your decisions. And so my decisions determine my circumstance. If I make poor decisions, I have a poor outcome. There are people watching me right now that have made bad decisions. But the good thing is you can start making good decisions today. You say, well, what if I've made a bad decision? Can I make another one? Yeah, you can make another decision and get things all squared away. So how do I do that? So if I've got to make the right decisions, how do I work that out? And I want you to write this down. There are 331 references in the Bible to decision making. 331 references in the Bible to decision making. Now, how do I know I've made the wrong decision? And the word is pain. Pain is the proof of disorder. If I've made the wrong decision with my body, I'm in pain. Yesterday, I was wondering if I'd made the right decision. We were clearing land, and the fun part was chopping the trees down. Then came the part of having to carry all the trees to the back part of the lot. And after about my 14th trip, my chest was tightening up, and I'm thinking, decisions determine destiny, and my destiny might be on the end here at the back of this property. But I'm very grateful for Ryan and Paul and Tony and our employee of the month, Angel. Dr. Angel Cried. She got the Employee of the Month award yesterday because she was grabbing trees and swinging them over her shoulder. And I said, what are you doing? She said, this tree is not going to beat me. This tree is not going to beat me. And I saw another side of her, and now I know why Elvis runs. Man, whoo. But pain is the proof of disorder, and God's obsession is order. He wants us to live an ordered life, a blessed life. That's why there's 331 references in the Bible to decision making. If you will do this, you'll eat the good of the land. If you'll do this, you'll be the head and not the tail. If you will do this, you will be the lender and not the borrower. If. So it's all based upon decision. So I want you to write down this statement because you have to have faith in God to make the right decisions. It's not just a logical brain activity. You have to have faith in God, and faith is confidence in God. I want us to all say that together. Faith is confidence in God. Say it again. Faith is confidence in God. The more you trust God, the greater confidence you have in God. The more you trust God. And someone watching me today will say, well, maybe that's why I have been going through this challenge lately. Maybe this is why I'm dealing with this issue. God is wanting to strengthen my trust in him. And so God speaks to us. He talks to us to build our faith. How does God talk to us? Obviously through the Bible, obviously through listening to a minister or a pastor or a speaker. But he also builds our faith by just circumstantial things that take place. I mean, have you ever had something happen and you just say, that was a God thing. That just had to be a God thing. And what does that do? Well, that makes you feel good to know. That makes you feel great to know that that God is on your side. God is helping you, and things are showing up in your life. So when you trust God, you have to understand that there's no higher authority. There's nothing higher on earth that you can put your confidence in. If you've got your confidence in your job, as you discover like thousands and thousands of people have, your job could end. If you have your confidence in a pension plan, you can be like all these people back in early 2000 that were with Enron and all these major companies, and they saw their retirements all disappear overnight. Major cities in California just wiped out retirement for government workers because the cities went bankrupt. So your trust and your confidence has to be in God. And so you have to have faith in God, and you have to have ways to build your faith. Now, when I say you trust in God, it's why God will give you illogical instructions. That's why God will tell you to do things that don't make sense. I learned a long time ago that when God gives you an instruction, he never photocopies it and passes it around to all your friends or your family so they'll understand you. He'll tell you, like he told us when we were living in Nashville, Tennessee. We were living in Nashville. He said, put your home up for sale. So I searched and I found a great real estate agent. And she came in and she said, just make a few improvements here. We're going to put this on the market and this thing's going to sell. And so we listed it at a price that I thought was quite more than, much more than we paid for. And in 3 days, our house was bid on by 3 different people. 3 different people wanted our house, and a bidding war took place, and we sold it for higher than that amount that we even listed it for. That was really a building thing for my faith. That built my faith greatly. And I was encouraged by that. Now, just because that happened to me doesn't mean it doesn't happen to you. It just means that I was trusting God, and he gave us an illogical instruction, because then we had to move out of our house. We had to move. We sold our home. It was like, you got to go. And we didn't have a house to move to. And but we're living in a wonderful home now. God's given us a gorgeous home, and we have stayed in the realm of faith and believing God. Everybody say, believe God.
Believe God.
A person who works with your faith is the most important person in your life. A person who works with your faith is the most important person in your life, because in your life, you're going to have to make faith decisions. You're going to have time. You're not going to have time to procrastinate. You're not going to have time to think about it. You're going to have faith to make a decision. So the person that works with your faith is one of the most important people in your life. And let me say this, the person that messes with your faith, is the most dangerous person in your life. That's why when you get around satirical people, cynical people, they know everything, just ask them. You need to be very, very careful about hanging around with people like that, because your faith has got to stay strong. Because out of your faith, you're going to make decisions. Your decisions. Now, what's your responsibility to walk in faith, and how do I stay in faith? And we're going to talk about that. But one of your main responsibilities is to find inspiration and stay inspired. Everyone say inspiration. Take out of your world what does not inspire you. Take out of your world what does not inspire you. If you came to our home, you would see certain pictures, certain things that are put on our walls, and they may not do anything for you, but they do a lot for us. They inspire me. There's a picture not far over my shoulder of a railway station in my hometown. And as a little child, I remember my dad working an extra shift when the train came in to let the passengers off. My mom would make a meal and we would go down, and I remember it would be snowy and cold, and we would take my dad a meal to him, and he would get into the vehicle and he would eat, and he was cold and wet. And I remember how hard he worked. He was such a focused guy. And someone gave me a picture of this called the Queen City Station, and it has snow on the ground. I saw that. That may not mean a lot to people, but it inspires me. It just keeps me so inspired because I remember what my dad was willing to do for his family. So you've got to get rid of anything in your world that doesn't inspire you. If you've got pictures or things that people have given you and you don't even really care that much for the people, get rid of it. Keep yourself inspired. Keep yourself motivated. And remember that it's not just talking yourself up or pumping yourself up. You have to have visual inspiration. You know, it's one of the reasons I have Sirius satellite radio on my car. Not just to listen to Fox News, though it's good to catch that every now and then. But I have it tuned into the 70s channel. Yes, it is true. I make this confession. I listen to 70s music, and I listen to it a lot. Why? Because back in the 70s, I was a radio DJ. Back in the excitement of my youth, I used to play those records, KC and the Sunshine Band, and the Average White Band, and all these, Journey and Foreigner. I used to play all these groups. ABBA. I played all these groups. And so when some of those songs come back on the radio, I remember. It just inspires me. I can be in a down mode and one of those songs come on, Billy Preston, Nothing from Nothing, and I just get so excited. It just really, really encourages me. So you've got to keep yourself inspired. Now, that's what you need to do. What is God looking for? What is God looking for a person to walk by faith? And I wrote these two words down. Number one is hunger, and number two is humility. Hunger and humility. Hunger and humility. The Bible says this: blessed are those who thirst after righteousness. Now, I know we have been made the righteousness of God through the blood of Christ. I understand that. But the word righteous just means doing the right thing in right standing with God. So you need to hunger to always be right. Be right. It reminds me of a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old. They're always right. Just ask them. They're always right. They know everything there is to know. They're always right. Where does this confidence come from that they know that they're right about everything at 12 or 13? And then when we get older, we're not sure if we're right about anything. You know, we begin to wonder, well, how do I stay right? How do I stay righteous? I agree with God. I read the Bible. And when I quote God, I'm not going to be wrong. When I quote God, when he says it's better to give than it is to receive, he knows what he's talking about. There's far much better feeling. There's far much greater blessing in giving than there is receiving. Well, he's right. There's something in our brain that goes off even when we watch other people get blessed. When we watch other people receive things, it makes us feel good. There's a release of a chemical in our brain. God knows. He knows. It's better to give than it is to receive. So you have to stay hungry of walking in rightness, in right standing with God. Walking in rightness. So the first word is hunger. The second word is humility. The second word is humility. These are two things God's looking for. Hungry people who hunger and want to be right, the rightness of God, so quoting God and staying right and reading his word. And secondly is humility. And why humility? Maybe I shouldn't say this because we're on live video and people will misinterpret what I'm saying, because I want you to know I love all people. There's not any group of people that I don't love. If God loves them and gave his only son for them, I'm going to find something I can love them with and love them in a way. but I meet different groups of people. And the Bible talks to us about